This month marks 5 years since most of the world shut down because of COVID-19. And throughout this week, WTOL 11 is looking back on the impact the pandemic left with us. People and businesses faced unprecedented challenges as they adapted to new guidelines and restrictions. Sophia Pericone takes us back to 2022.
It's hard to imagine a time before we knew about the pandemic. And looking back 5 years later, it's hard to imagine an industry that went untouched by it.
It was devastating news for us.
And it was so unprecedented.
WTOL 11 first reported on COVID-19 in January 2020. Then Toledo-Lucas County Health Commissioner Eric Skaczynski said hospitals were bracing for impact.
Anytime that something like this happens, you want to get ahead of the curve.
But Ohio wouldn't feel any real shifts until March. On the 5th, the state banned fans from the Arnold Classic. Just 4 days later, the first confirmed case in the state, and on March 14th, a case in Lucas County.
Just because you want to get tested, there are not enough of tests. We have to make that clear.
From there, cases climbed across the state. March 20th, marking a new grim milestone, Ohio's first COVID death.
There are going to be a number of inconveniences. And inconveniences is too mild a word in many ways.
And just 2 days later, a statewide stay-at-home order went into place, closing schools, restaurants, retailers, and more.
My fellow Ohioans, we have not faced an enemy like we are facing today in 102 years.
My heart sunk, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how are we going to survive?
Schmuckers in West Toledo wasted no time. Owner Doug Schmucker says the next day, his dining room was completely shut down, pivoting immediately to curbside pickup.
That was pretty painful. The learning curve was not very happy.
And while nearly all restaurants shifted to what became the new normal of 2020, some jumped into action.
We made hand sanitizer.
Using the high-proof alcohol they already had in-house, Mommy Bay Brewing Company tapped into their supply, producing a once highly coveted necessity in 2020, hand sanitizer, then giving it out for free.
The amount of security that something so simple that we just had the resources to be able to do and give back to the community was very humbling.
The weeks that followed continued to be a challenge for hospitals dealing with surging capacity, for businesses facing unprecedented restrictions, and individuals adjusting to a new way of life.
There wasn't access to the gym, and so what that created was either you were being creative with what you had, or some people just stopped working out.
Fitness 419 gym owner Luis Lozada says he saw a lot of people lose touch with one another, falling off their typical routines.
What that caused was the loss of that outlet and that community and camaraderie that the gym brings.
But after months of closures, some relief in late spring. At the end of April, Governor DeWine started unveiling staggered reopening plans, starting with healthcare offices. More businesses were given the go-ahead by the end of the month. All of this contingent on social distancing, masking, limited capacity, and curfews.
We moved tables out so that they could be separated as needed. We got plexiglass devices made so at the counter you could sit next to somebody.
In July, a new mandate, one requiring masks in the city of Toledo. The state followed suit on the 23rd. Both the state and local mandates would last until June 2021, but before that, a glimpse of hope. In December 2020, the first COVID-19 vaccines were administered in Ohio.
3, 2, 1. Vaccinate!
But life didn't return to normal right away. In 2021, businesses still faced some challenges.
It forced us to look outside the box that, status quo isn't going to work.
And even now, 5 years later, effects of COVID-19 are still sprinkled into everyday life.
We have distanced our tables still a little bit more than what we have in the past.
Wiping things down more regularly.
But also now, a new appreciation for the people that pushed us through the pandemic.
Without the support of our staff, it wouldn't have happened.
In Toledo, Sophia Pericone, WTOL 11.